North Florida transfer Josh Harris is headed to Indiana, the second North Florida player to go to Indiana this offseason, following Josiah Miles. Harris played 22 and a half minutes per game, averaged 13 and a half points, just over 7 boards, was a productive player for the Ospreys as a freshman. Now taking a step up in competition, obviously going to the Big Ten, play for Indiana. Cart will just start broadly. What do you make of the commitment?
I love that Indiana's strategy is we're gonna get some big guys, but not too big, not too big. Like we don't want you to necessarily cross that threshold of being a five, but we'll mix in with little 6'8", 6'9" guys. We love those guys. No, I think Josh Harris is a player that's intriguing, right? Because like the 6'8", 210 frame is something that you look at and you like, okay, I like that. Was 33% from three on very low volume, but 70% three-point shooter. You probably project him to be a guy that can do that. And look, a freshman averaging 13 and 7 at any level is impressive.
Mhm.
And I think that's also one of the more intriguing parts about this ad is that in the transfer portal era, everyone is so like 1 year rental, we're out, 2 year rental, we're out. This is a guy you could possibly have in your program for 3 years, develop him. I think you really like that ad. Now I'm asking Indiana to please add a center challenge. I would love to see that. But um I think there's a lot of endearing things, a lot to like about Josh Harris.
Yeah, DeVries has gone very much with the Pat Kelsey, Mark Pope kind of model from last year, where it is everybody that we bring in is going to shoot threes.
Yeah.
That's essentially what he's doing with this roster. What kind of role would you expect him to have? Because again, this is not a team that has a lot of big men. At 6'8", Harris is not like a traditional big man, but he's going to probably play the four. What kind of role would you expect him to have?
So given the current makeup of the team, I think he would be a bench piece at this point. Um, but also, like when you watch this stuff. Also, shout out to College Basketball Scouting. I absolutely love that YouTube channel, by the
Oh,
way. It's
oh,
got
oh
great,
my goodness.
great stuff,
Absolutely.
like great things about like strength, weaknesses, percentages. I love everything about that. It's my favorite place to go when I'm looking at some of these guys I don't get to watch as much during the year,
Other than sleepers.
other than sleepers, of course. How dare I just over here just prop people up? That's on me. But there's like something here with him, like something here
Yeah.
with him where one, he could not only be a productive, player at the Big Ten level, which I think he will eventually get there, but depending on how fast he gets there, you know, the people salivate over 6'8", 210 guys that can do a little bit of everything. He can't pass. Now, don't get me wrong, not many passing highlights on here, evident by some of his stuff, but the frame is there. And at worst, I think you have a guy that can be a 6'8" kind of productive four-man that maybe is undersized or on the slider and slender end, but the tools are all there. But I think it's going to be how fast he adjusts and develops to how much he plays kind of for Indiana. But I think the luxury for Indiana is because they added so many guys that are kind of in this mold that there's no rush for him. If he's
Yeah,
great right away, you're like, all right, hell yeah, we got this right away. That's good. If he's not, all right, let's work on it. We got something there. You'll be in the program. Let's make this happen.
We interrupt this sleepers video to tell you about an offer from Underdog Fantasy. Cart, you love Underdog Fantasy, correct?
Of course I do. Can I have a moment real quick?
Please. Thank you for that. In fact, I'm going to cut you off because our listeners like when we keep these short and sweet. Underdog Fantasy. Sign up as a new user, use promo code SLEEPERS, get bonus funds up to $1,000, 50% of your deposit match. The NBA playoffs are rocking right now. I played Underdog last week with a Cade Cunningham line. I'm looking forward to doing it throughout the entire first round of the NBA playoffs, but there's more. You can place picks on golf. You can place picks on baseball. You can place picks on the NHL playoffs that are rocking right now. Join Underdog Fantasy, promo code SLEEPERS. Support this show so that we can keep bringing videos to you. Back to the video.
I think he is somebody that Indiana fans and us more than likely will be very excited about for the 26-27 season.
Yeah.
Like I think he
Mhm.
shows enough this year in a bench role to get us excited about what he can be in an even bigger role next year. Because Indiana's brought in a ton of transfers, right? I think that he's like the 10th guy who's committed
Yeah.
in this class from the portal. he might be like the 10th biggest name or the ninth biggest name on
Right.
this list. But a lot of those other guys, particularly the bigger names, are guards. And so we talked about the lack of like true centers. There's a lack of like legitimate big men options as well here. Like you have Tucker DeVries. He's gonna play the four more than likely. You have Reed Bailey, who is probably gonna play the five because he's the only guy taller than 6'9" currently on the roster, projected to be in the rotation. And then after that, like it's him. It's him and Sam Alexis from Florida, and Florida was okay with him walking.
Right.
So like there's a scenario here where he gets 15, 20 minutes a game, and I don't expect him to go 13 and a half and 7 in those minutes. But if he can get you 8 and 5 off the bench and hit a couple threes every now and again, like that's a really vital bench piece for this group.
Yeah, the one thing I'll be interested to see is like how he scores at the Big Ten level because
Yeah.
a lot of his stuff is like he posts up a lot, a good amount, and he's got good touch around the rim, but also he's 6'8", right? So
Yeah.
you got to see how he finishes. He does post up extremely well. He offensive rebounds well. You just got to see kind of how his body comes along, how that translates to a Big Ten level. But I mean, to your point, there's no rush on it. He's like the 10th name, and that's not even a disrespectful thing. That's kind of credit to Indiana and DeVries.
Indiana's going to play really small this year, either way. And he can be a part of that. They have enough bodies in there where he can be a minimal part of it. Either way, I think we like this as a high upside add for Indiana, one that really comes with no downside risk.